All right. What's up, y'all? Happy what's today? Tuesday. It is April 1st. We are officially in financial literacy month. And so I went live last night and I thought, why not? Let's go back and run this again. Um, but tonight we're going to be talking about retirement accounts, especially the types that can help out small business owners and entrepreneurs. So, as we are rounding out the tax season, many entrepreneurs file single member LLC. And so they still have, you still have a few days if you're um, trying to catch that April 15th deadline. And so hopefully you see this content before then and you can get what needs to be set up in place by then to take advantage of some of these accounts. But I will be diving into some of the common questions that are asked around retirement accounts and what you can do as a self-employed person and share some additional details around like limits and things like that. So, for those of you who don't know me, who may be watching this live or catching this on the replay, my name is Tremaine Wills. I am a financial planner and I run a financial services agency that helps small business owners and folks who just want to be intentional about building wealth, leveraging different strategies, manage their money better, and get some clarity around how this money moves, right? So, tonight, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about retirement plans. And so, if you have questions about when you should start investing, how you can do that as a small business owner, this conversation is for you. So, um, let's dive into just kind of some level setting here, right? I took some notes that'll help us out. But especially when we're talking about working with small business owners, a lot of us, this concept of retirement it seems elusive, right? It's like, I like what I do. Why would I ever stop? Um, but we don't come into this to create a forever job. Usually we come in to create some sort of level of financial freedom or flexibility. So that we can do more of what we like to do with our time. So you don't have to continue working always. You don't have to wait to start saving for retirement until you hit some revenue milestone. And sometimes we just don't start investing because we don't know what accounts exist. So we're going to talk about how you can, do this a little better. So I'm going to dive into 10 questions that are common when we're talking about retirement options for small business owners. So, this first question here I have is, do I really need a retirement account if I plan to build wealth other ways? And so the answer here is yes. Even if you have a real estate empire that you're building, right? We talk a lot about real estate when we're working with clients, or if you have a business, or even other assets. Retirement accounts offer tax benefits that are different from some of these other assets. So you'll want to take advantage of retirement accounts as well, right? It's not a one or the other, it's a yes and, right? I want to leverage everything that's available to me. Question number two: when should I start investing for retirement? And the answer is yesterday or as soon as possible, really is what we like to say. When you are generating consistent income and you have your emergency fund in place, now it's time to start thinking about, okay, how can I start to set some money aside for later? And so you might be thinking like, oh, there'll come a time where I feel like I'm ready. More often than not, we don't ever feel ready to invest. You just kind of have to make a decision that now's the time to start and move forward with it. Because the contributions, they add up, right? And one of the best things about investing is that when you have more time, that's more interest that can accrue. And the longer we wait, we are condensing our ability to compound that interest. So, time is our friend. We want to take action as soon as possible. Question number three: how much should I be investing monthly? Another great question. Um, And again, this is going to depend from person to person. Once you've gotten to a place where you have disposable income in your business and you're paying yourself regularly, you can start as small as 10, 15% of how much you're paying yourself. And if you feel like that number is too big to start, then choose a number you're comfortable with. It could be as small as $100 a month, right? The point here is you want to develop a cadence, a rhythm of paying yourself for retirement consistently, right? Because we talk about this all the time. It's the compounding effort over time that those dollars are going to add up and allow you to build wealth. And so, even if the amount that you're starting with is small, the muscle, the exercise of doing this over and over again, it's what's going to help you build up that retirement. Question number 4. What is the best retirement account for solopreneurs just starting out? So, if you are a small business owner and you don't have any employees yet and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. The good news is there is a retirement account for you. You can start with an individual retirement account. It doesn't have to be one that is special just for entrepreneurs. Anybody that has earned income can open up a retirement account. And so you can either use the traditional IRA, which is going to allow you to put money in pre tax, or you can leverage the Roth IRA, which is going to allow you to pay the taxes on the money first and then put the money in the account. And when you leverage the account correctly, everything that comes out of it later is tax free. Right now, of course, you'll work with your financial professional to determine which of these is going to be best for you. But it's a very, very low barrier um, to entry because there's not much fancy paperwork that has to be done. Um, and you can max out this account at $7,000 a year if you are under age 50. And for those of us who are over age 50, you have a catch up contribution of $1,000. So you can cap yours out at 8K. And this is the 2024 contribution limits. So you just want to stay abreast of, what the current contribution limits are for that year, right? And if you're working a financial professional, they will be able to help guide you with that. And if not, a quick YouTube search, guys, and you'll be able to find those answers. Question number 5. When should I switch to a solo 401k or a SEP IRA? And SEP is SEP, Simplified Employee Pension IRA. So these are additional retirement account options that are for small business owners. They do require a higher level of understanding. There's some additional paperwork that kind of goes with it, right? So these are not accounts that anybody can just open. You really do have to have a business structure in place to take advantage of them. But when you are really generating some serious profit, right? And we're talking about, you know, more than $50,000 in profit. Then you want to start thinking about, okay, I might need to start leveraging some of these accounts that are available to one, reduce my taxable income, but then two, also like, hey, I need to prepare for retirement. And using some of this net income to save it for the future and putting it inside of these retirement accounts is a great way to do it. So the difference between the two, right? Solo 401k is very similar to the 401k that you might have experienced if you ever worked in the private sector, where you as the employee can make contributions and your employer can make contributions. Same thing with the solo 401k. The only difference here is you are both the employer and the employee. So you're able to make contributions in both of those ways. With the SEP IRA, the SEP, Simplified Employee Pension Plan, only the employer is able to make contributions. And so it's a little bit different, right? Because both do still have those contribution limits. But when you're thinking about tax strategy and where you need to take advantage of reducing your taxable income, whether through the business or as an individual, there is no tax incentives to the individual through the SEP because all the contributions are made through the business, right? So the 401k program allows you to have personal contributions as the employee and contributions as the employer. So, which one you will be using, of course, is going to be predicated upon your goals and how your business is set up. But what we're talking about is, when is it time to switch? When you're starting to make some profit and it's more than $50,000, now it's time to get some accounts in place where you can start to put more away than the $7,000 that can go inside of the IRA. Question number 6. Can I invest if I still have debt? The answer is yes, right? Now, when you are thinking about saving for retirement and investing for retirement, the question might come up where it's, okay, well, how much should I be investing if I still have debt? And this is going to come down to the type of debt that you have. If it is high interest debt, if you have a lot of it, if you have lots of disposable income, all of that is going to go into consideration when we're talking about, can you still invest and pay down debt? Now, of course, as I've mentioned before, time is on your side. So it's important that as soon as you are able to invest, you do start investing. But when you have debt in conjunction with your desire to start accumulating assets, now you have to be a little bit more strategic about paying down that debt. So the interest rates, that the interest that you are accruing on the debt is not outpacing the interest you are earning on your asset accumulation. Number 7. What if my income is inconsistent, right? And this is a huge one for small business owners. Can I still contribute to retirement? The answer is yes. Now, what you may want to do here is use a percentage based system where, instead of saying, every month I'm going to put $500 into this account, it might be every month I'm going to contribute 5, 10, 15% into this account. So that way, if you have a month where you're not able to put as much in, it doesn't significantly impact your cash flow, but you're still able to contribute something. So you're still exercising the muscle and building the habit of investing. Question number 8. Do I need to set up payroll to open up a solo 401k? The answer is no. You don't necessarily have to have payroll set up to open up a solo 401k. But if you are taxed as an S corp, then you do need to have payroll, because you have to pay yourself salary. You should be on W-2, and that must come through payroll. So the structure that you have in place for your business is going to dictate what is required when you are setting up your retirement plan. All right, question number 9. What platform should I use to open up this account? There are so many different types of brokerage platforms that allow you to open up retirement accounts. What I typically encourage people to do is think about where they already have assets. So if you already have a relationship with Fidelity, or if you already have a relationship with a financial advisor, go back to that same place and talk about opening up this additional account. It's going to help you streamline and keep as many accounts in one place. So that way you don't have assets floating all around and it's hard to keep track of them. Number 10, what is the biggest mistake I can make with a retirement as a solopreneur? And the biggest mistake is waiting too long, right? Um, the time passes quickly, right? I think back to when I was 25 and my dad was saying, like, it goes fast from here. And it really has gone fast, right? These past 10 years. And that's what happens in entrepreneurship, right? You get into the thick of running the business and you look up and years have gone by. And if you're not careful, there will be lots of years with no investing. And so when we think about the importance of time and leveraging it to take advantage of that interest compounding, it's important to get started as soon as possible. So if you continue to wait and do nothing, you run out of time, and then you have to invest so much more to accomplish the same goals if you just would have started 10 years sooner, right? So it's hard to say, retroactively go back and invest, right? But if you're watching this and you haven't started investing, today's the day to start. So, what are some common mistakes and misconceptions around retirement as an entrepreneur? The biggest one is thinking you'll always make enough to invest later, right? A lot of us have these projections and these goals. Like, well, I can speak for myself, right? Um, the rate at which we expect to grow often is astronomical. And so you just know that there's going to be so much money available later to invest, and you continue to delay and delay and delay. And instead of just starting small, you're waiting for this big home run to get started when you could have been, just hitting a base hit, right? And getting to the next place. So let's push past this idea of waiting until you have amassed, some significant revenue number or some large savings balance, and just get started with something small. Another common mistake is letting debt stop you from investing. And the the thing I want to address about this is not that debt itself is bad, right? Because especially as business owners, we leverage debt to grow. The problem is when we have crippling debt because we are not paying attention to cash flow and we are not being intentional with managing debt wisely, where it impedes our ability to actually invest. So, um, when we think about debt, you got to be strategic so that you can leverage debt to grow the business, but also have cash flow and capital available so that you can invest and accumulate assets. Another common misconception is confusing business success with personal wealth. And it's hard, right? Especially when your identity is wrapped up in your business. You may not know the difference between, what your personal net worth is and what the business net worth is. And so we have to be strategic about building both. And so that looks like extracting wealth from the business and making sure you as the individual, your personal net worth is growing. And we do that partially through our retirement accounts. And the last biggest mistake, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, look, we always looking for ways to save on taxes, but oftentimes we don't know that tax deductible contributions can lower that bill, right? So this is a unique opportunity where oftentimes we think about, oh, I gotta, rack up these expenses so I can cut the amount of tax I owe because the profit's less. But what if you could shift money from one account to another, right? And still reduce that tax bill and not have to give up this asset, right? Um, that's something to think about. And I think a lot of small business owners don't know that that is an option. All right. So, hopefully, after this conversation, I've given you some things to think about as far as retirement and being self employed. And so, if you want to dive into this conversation a little bit deeper, maybe get some support around setting up a simple retirement account for yourself or doing some strategic retirement planning, I want to invite you to tap the link in the description where you can have a complimentary consultation and we'll talk about what next steps could look like for you. So that way you're not guessing what you should be doing. And if you'd like more tips like this, of course, like, comment, subscribe under this video, and let me know if you have any additional things that you'd like more clarification around. Let me know in the comments. Um, it has been fun. I will be up here again sometime this month to share more gems. And so, yeah, have a great evening, y'all.